is very good to own your own property, and normally you will have the mortgage for the property. If you have some extra savings, is doing the overpayment for the mortgage is a good choice. Let's talk about this question and make it very clear for you today. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is my rich journey. Having a mortgage is particularly common phenomenon in these days if you buy a property. If you will pay the mortgage off in the future 20 to 30 years, the interest you pay probably will higher than the principal you borrowed initially. So, should you make an overpayment regularly to reduce the term of mortgage? Here is my answer. Firstly, it depends on the interest rate. Since the year 2008 financial crisis in the UK, the interest rate has been maintained as low as 1 to 2%. If you buy a property in 2008, then you will experience a low interest rate for the future 13 years roughly. In this point, you should leverage your money and make future investment if you have saving rather than make an overpayment to your residential property. For example, if you have enough savings and you decide to use these savings to invest a one-bed buy-to-let property for $220,000 in London Zone 2. The rental income is £1,000 to £1,100. The maximum LTV is 75%, where you will need to borrow around $165,000 from bank. Calculating the interest rate at 1.5%. The monthly interest-only mortgage is $206. Other expense including administration fee from the agent, ground rent, and service charge. Overall speaking, you can still earn a lot of money when the interest rate is low if you want to invest for a buy-to-let property because the expense is really under your control. Also, considering the time value of the money, £200 in today is more expensive than the £200 in 10 years later because of the inflation, let alone the increase of the value for the property itself. But for these risk-averse people, you can choose to make overpayment for your residential property because the principal will reduce significantly comparing with the high interest period, where you can pay off the mortgage very quickly. At my side, when the interest rate is very low, I personally recommend not to pay off your residential mortgage early. Try to leverage your money and make investment as much as you can. But when the interest rate is getting higher since 2021, should we make an overpayment as much as we can for our residential property? Let's have a look at this picture first. This is the interest rate of the UK before 2008. It is high, but at that time, the price of the property is low. Also, with the 20 years inflation and the growth of the wage, it is not that expensive and is still not worth to make the overpayment. This is interest rate from the year 2008 to 2020, where the 1 to 2% low rate stays in place for around 12 years. Since 2021, mortgage rate have started to raise almost to 6%. For example, a term of 30 years mortgage, when the interest rate is 1.7%, the mortgage rate is $1,064. But when the interest rate goes to 4.5, not even goes to 6%, the monthly repayment amount raises up to $1,520. Speaking of which, if you're not quite clear about how it works with the mortgage in the UK, I would like to explain to you more. In the UK, the mortgage is divided into fixed and tracker. The interest of tracker depends on the Bank of England interest and plus the rate from the bank you borrow the money from. So, the monthly mortgage rate can be higher or lower each month. It's a floating rate. The fixed rate is you will pay the same mortgage regardless of the change of the Bank of England of their rate. Normally, you can choose to select the fixed term for 2, 3, or 5 years. So back to our topic. If the interest rates are so high, should you pay the overpayment for your residential property if you have some extra money or savings? Let's think about this question in this way. So in the first category, if the mortgage interest rate is 5%, if you have some savings and you will use this money to make investment, and the return of investment is higher than 5%, in this case, do not make overpayment and just do the investment. But on the other hand, if you cannot get higher return for the investment than the mortgage rate, let's say 5%, should you make the overpayment without hesitation? My answer is depends on the following two occasions. Situation number 1, if you have a very homogeneous structure of the income and expense, you don't have any investment plans for the near future, then you certainly cannot get the investment return higher than the interest rate, let's say 5%. So just make the overpayment when you have some savings or extra money. So let's do a calculation together. If we make the overpayment for the extra $500 per month, you can reduce the mortgage term from 30 years down to 18 years. If we make the overpayment for the extra £1,000 a month, the mortgage term will go straight from 30 years down to 13 years. If I can make the overpayment for 1,520, the mortgage term goes down to 10 years. So in the case of the high interest rate and you don't have any investment plan, make the overpayment as much as possible because it will save you a lot of money in the interest. Situation number 2, if you can still not get enough investment return more than the mortgage rate, but you started to learn and have a plan on the future investment, make a certain amount overpayment, but keep enough savings as capital for the future investment. Because the investment is to let money make money for you. Remember, financial freedom is when the money will make you enough money and you don't have to make money on your own. Personally, I would highly recommend it that you choose to put it along with the portion of savings and learn to make investment by using this money. If you would like to achieve financial freedom in near future, let the money make money for you is the only way. Well, this is what I want to share you today on should we make the overpayment for the mortgage? I hope you get some inspirations from today's video. Thank you very much for your watching. This is my rich journey, and I will see you in the next video.